Greetings, happy Friday. Welcome to our webcast attendees around the world for this month's KTN webcast training series. Our topic this month is capturing more catering and event sales revenue. This is actually the first time we've addressed this topic. Those of you who have been joining us, you know we have talked about hotel group and event sales. We rotate our topics. If you're new to us, we do it every month. We rotate from hospitality to sales to reservations, front desk, and then round and round again. What I love to see is people signing up for our entire series. So thank you to those of you we see are regulars, even those of you who are not directly in hotel sales or catering sales. So I hope everyone can benefit. But if you are a director of sales, a director of catering, if you're selling weddings, if you're selling events, this one is all about you. Although once again, we hope everyone finds it helpful. Before we go any further, as always, we are very grateful to give a shout out to our sponsors that have been with us since day one of this webcast series, which was in January of 2023. Track, a travel net solution. I'll be seeing the fine folks at Track this coming weekend at the VR Nation conference where I'll be presenting, and they have a wonderful CRM for reservations. If you're a hotel resort, that is a great product for you. They also have Atlas, which is their web digital marketing side for everybody. And then they have a PMS solution for vacation rental, condo hotels, which is probably the biggest one in the system in that niche of lodging. Travel Outlook, the premier hotel call center, probably the only one fully certified by Kennedy Training Network. That means not only do we train and onboard all their new staff, but we also score calls remotely for them to make sure they're meeting our very high standards. So if you're looking for outsourced reservation support, they're your team to go with. Let's move on to shout outs. So if this is your first time with us, we take a moment to do shout outs before we start into our content, which is usually about 40 minutes. I love going through our list with Julia Kennedy, our marketing coordinator. Before this, it gives me a chance to imagine all of the smiling faces, and many of you attend live. If you're not attending live, thank you. But those of you who do attend live, if you're not able to join us in the future, remember everyone who signs up does get the recordings. So international shout outs, Palladium, Dominican Republic. Hello, Luz. I'll actually be going to the DR in 2 weeks to work with Majestic Resorts, and hopefully very soon for the Zimi Miches, which will be opening at the end of June. I'll be there 2 times in the next 2 months. Chateau Denmark, Emily, first timer, welcome. Royalton Resorts, thank you for coming back. Kamiki, I think this might be your first time joining us. Courtyard Calgary, Vera, and also a couple of Canadian locations here. Thank you, Vera, for joining us. The Edmonton Hotel, Karima, your GM now. It's great to see you signing up. I think I've seen you on other webcasts, but it's wonderful to see your name. It's been a while since I've done the private webcam training for you. Round Hill, Jamaica. I did not even know much about this resort until I got the privilege to go there and train your team in July. We'll be doing actually training for the event people, the sales people, and the reservation team. So Josie, thank you for that opportunity. If you are looking for an ultra luxury resort, world class, check out Round Hill. Nizo, Cancun, you hold a special place in my heart. Hope to come back soon. We have a lot of new people here today. Lucky's Management of South Florida. You signed up a lot of people here. We have Maria, Austin, Carol, Elaine, you're our local neighbor. Would love to come out and present this training just for your team. And the Lauren Austin, ironically, I'm flying there on Sunday, but didn't know about your hotel or I would have stayed there. So welcome, Martin, and it's great to see managing directors turning out. Hershey Resorts, Rick, it was so great connecting with you last month, and thank you for joining this webcast. I hope you find some value to pass on to your event sales people in particular. And then a few more. We have Alicia and Alexander from Elevation out in Colorado. Welcome. Ohio State, the Blackwell Inn. You signed up a lot of people. Again, welcome. Thank you for joining us. Sheridan, Tucson, Pia. The Madison Hotel. Tim, thank you. Snoqualm up in Washington State, Asim. and the Embassy Suites downtown, Melissa. I assume you're with Baystar Hotels. It's about time to come and get some more training for you folks. So thank you to all of you who are joining us. That shout outs gives me a chance to really hopefully have a better sense of connection as we go through the content today. And I think of all the people watching us around the world. It also gives us a few minutes for everybody to join us. If you're doing a lunch and learn in the Eastern time zone, get your sandwich ready and let's get started. So, hotel sales as compared to catering and event sales. These jobs traditionally are often thought of by leaders as being very, very similar. But in the real world, they're actually quite different in many ways. So we're going to look at a lot of the differences today in selling catering events, which are all, we're going to go through the different types here. But hotel sales generally can be more likely to be a commodity-based need. What I mean by that is the leads are tending to come from a dispassionate planner or increasingly these days, commissioned third-party agencies. They don't really have any skin in the game. They especially don't have any heart in the game. Now, I say that generally to emphasize because we have so many different types of accommodations companies today, from hotels, resorts, vacation rental. Many of you do have group planners that are very passionate and very dialed in to the events that they're planning. But on the broad scale, it's more likely to be a dispassionate person that kind of got stuck with that, or that does a routine meeting that maybe is a rotating meeting or an annually occurring meeting. And it's at least, we could probably agree, most of the time, it's not as emotionally engaging as the other types of events, which catering and event salespeople. These are leads which tend to come from someone directly associated with the cause of that event, with the purpose, the objective of that event. They have heart in the game. So usually hotel sales, we're dealing with a lot of group sales. We're dealing with group conferences, corporate meetings. We're dealing with association meetups. If you're at one of the larger hotels, Hershey Resorts, you're huge in the state of Pennsylvania. I'm sure the Ohio State folks, you probably do a lot of meetups for various fraternal or sororital associations that are meeting there. Sports teams, if you're at the Embassy Suites, if you're at the Hampton Inn, you're dealing with Murphy groups, which is going to be the coach or the volunteer. Okay, I was never a volunteer for a parental sports team, but I was the middle school band parent association president. We didn't do a lot of traveling, but it allows me to kind of relate to what it would be like to be the one in charge of your youth soccer or your cheer squad's travel. Your heart is in it, but really it's more of like a side thing, and you just need some rooms to put your 4 quads of loud teenagers. BT negotiated corporate rates, so often this is through technology now, through Lanyon. So and a lot of times there's not even conversations. Now, on the other hand, weddings. A person has only one wedding, ideally. Retirement parties. We just went to a friend's retirement party on Saturday. It was not at a hotel, but I tell you, it was very important to them. And of course, in the corporate world, these are really big events, but usually they're planned by somebody close to the person who's retiring. Awards banquets could be related to those sports teams, or it could be company awards, it could be association awards, could be volunteerism groups. Holiday parties, always an emotionally important one. Quinceañeras, bat mitzvahs, these are all events being planned by those who are closer to the person that's being celebrated or the event that's being held at that time. So again, generalities here, but I think if you do the math, the numbers tend to be catering and events are catered events are much more emotionally involved in the people that are planning it. Now, replying with standard template or in-platform messages, as in a bid, that may work for hotel sales. And increasingly, we have seen the automation of hotel group and event sales. Now, if you joined me for a webcast about 2 or 3 months ago, we talked about how we still need to use these same concepts today to stand out in a world where there's increasing automation, where entire meetings are being booked through Cvent. We all know, many of you are just discovering this year, Groups 360, which is allowing people. I know I was at the Embassy Suites just north of Orlando, one of your sister hotels, for those of you on the somebody on the broadcast today, and they had just that week got their first booking through Groups 360. So someone actually went online and booked a group through automation. This is one path the industry is going, the automation, the peopleless booking, just as we saw where Expedia and the OTAs took over in the early 2000 aughts. But so therefore, I still think all these sales methods are helpful for all salespeople, okay? But you can get by in today's world by being generic, responding with an in-platform bid, or responding and doing a whole deal through what I call silent selling, all right? However, always remember, you in the catering and event business, you are selling memory making experiences. You're not renting event space. So you think about all the human factors that are going to play out, the human experiences that are going to play out with families and friends and coworkers, people who are very close, their work fam, or association people that every year meet up and have known each other for years and years, or sports teams that share a 3-year middle school, 4-year high school, 4-year college bonding. These are, and then they're doing their awards banquets. These are very, very emotionally engaged experiences. So remember, think about the other side. Now, this is one I've covered in almost every webcast recently. It's one of my favorite Doug Kennedy mantras. When the product, the place, and the price are relatively same, it is the people parts that make the difference. And think about, and again, so we have so many different properties and companies here, then I look at the context and I think about all of you. And there are some very unique hotels signed up, but the place is going to be similar. I don't think there's anyone on this webcast that doesn't have a competitor in the neighborhood. And if you are one of the upper mid-scale brands that with us today, you know, wherever there's a Courtyard, there's a Hampton Inn pretty close by, or a Sheraton Four Points, or a Holiday Inn Express. So the place and the product very often looks similar. Now, you might have a unique decor if you're the Elevation Resort in Colorado, or if you're the one joining us from Hawaii and Maui. But generally, if you look down the road, the product can be very similar. The price with today's AI powering of the revenue management automation systems, more and more we're seeing the price being no longer a point of differentiation, unless you want to be the first one to throw in the towel and, you know, cut rates at the last minute and dump everything. But what makes us different is not the product, price, or the place. It is the people parts that makes us stand out. And this is especially true for catering and event sales. So positive first impressions are going to help you stand out in a sea of sameness, same price, same product, same place. Okay, what makes the difference is you. So let's start into our Doug Kennedy training tips for sales, catering sales, event sales, wedding sales. First of all, be available. Obsess on salesperson availability. Many event leads still arrive by phone. A disproportionately high number of leads for events are going to arrive by a phone call, okay? Or sometimes even a walk-in. But we do get a lot of electronic leads. Of course, we're going to acknowledge that in a moment. But when somebody picks up their phone and clicks over the number to dial you, do your very best to answer that call live. So this depends on your setup. Some of you may be working remotely. Many of you, though, are on property. And this is where we want to have, you know, sometimes it may go straight to your voicemail, but if you are being answered by a PBX or front desk or our larger hotels today, the sales admin person, be the best at finding you for the phone call. And even if you are not able to pick it up, if they at least try. Now, I should have had a slide on this one, but let's make sure whoever's answering does call announce, not call screen. Let me demonstrate. Call screen. Hi, may I speak with John Smith? May I tell him, yes, may I ask who's calling? Who's calling? We're almost saying like, is he there? or is he not here? It depends on who you are. So call announce is where we say, oh, yes, I can put you through to John. May I tell him who's calling? Oh, certainly, Mr. Kennedy, allow me to connect you. And this is call announce. And then John Smith can pick up and say, oh, hello, Mr. Kennedy. So do your very best with that positive first impression. That's going to be putting some money aside in the bank account. Now, if you're answered directly by an extension, update your voicemail regularly. You know, it's wonderful to, I love people to say every day. Okay. Now, if you're getting 2 or 3 phone calls a day, it's worth it. If you're getting 3 or 4 calls a week, at least do it weekly. Hello, this is Doug Kennedy. I've stepped away from my desk for the week of, sorry, for the same day. Hello, this is Doug Kennedy. Today is Friday. I'm away from my desk periodically, but I definitely will return your call within a few moments. Please leave a message. If you get calls regularly, update it daily, it gives a great first impression. If you get a handful of calls a week from leads, this is Doug Kennedy for the week of April 28th. I'm in the office every day except for Monday when I'll be in Austin at a conference. Please leave a message though. I promise to return your call promptly, ideally same day. And this makes a difference. Update your out of office with that commitment to call people back as well. And now, backup lead catchers. I say this for our hotel folks. A lot of leads come through the front desk. Again, when I was at the Embassy Suites Orlando North Baystar Hotel, the sister hotel of Embassy Suites downtown, they actually have a lot of leads coming right through that front desk. And they do have a lead inquiry form, which I thought was very impressive. Do you have one? If not, you should. Otherwise, we get a little scrap of paper written on the back of recycled paper somewhere that says, call Doug Kennedy and here's a phone number. He wants to book an event. So at least get basic key details to the extent possible on your lead catcher form. This could be a form that could be filled out through email, or it may be available from your CRM to be already integrated. All right, now, we walk in any given day to a catering and event sales, and we have now hopefully, a flood of leads. Depending on what you're doing for marketing, and I know we have a lot of directors in sales and marketing here, a lot of you are paying a lot of money to be on platforms. We can be on platforms with the basic listing like Cvent, The Knot, Wedding Wire, the local CVB or tourism. But many of you have invested in paid listings to make sure that you're higher up the food chain there. And so the more you've done to focus on that, the more that inbox is going to be filled with leads. And sometimes it is so overwhelming for us, and salespeople end up in a reactive mode. So start your day every day when you open that inbox, sort and prioritize the leads that are coming in. And what I recommend you doing, actually sit with salespeople and help them with this, catering salespeople. Take a look at the actual leads that are coming in. Prioritize those who put a lot of details, especially if they've also referred to details about your venues. And so if they have shown evidence that they've looked at an event space by name or a meeting room by name or anything specific about your property, those are the ones that are clearly the hottest leads, the more time they put into the lead. Now, on the other hand, if they simply say, I need a price for a wedding for 50 people, or I need a Christmas party for 20 people on this certain date, well, then that's a different story. But that will help them stand out. By sorting and prioritizing when you start your day, allows you to be in control instead of living in the reactive state of trying to start at the top of that list, which you're never going to get through. All right. So depending on what site you're involved with, also if you're a brand, you may get leads. Those tend to be more group leads, but we may also get leads for catering and events that come through. In fact, you may get leads from your hotel group salespeople if you're a big enough operation. But sort and prioritize, and that allows you to take control of your day. Now, let's talk about the other leads. Generic inquiries, those are the ones that say, send me the price, or I need a quote. And if they put very little effort into filling your inquiry form out, or again, a lead through these platform applications that come in that we've mentioned the names of several times. If they show no specific interest in your property or your event venue, an auto response or a generic proposal template is perfectly acceptable if you have to. Now, if it's a slower time of year and you have time, try to dig a little deeper, try searching them up on social media, try anything you can to personalize it based on even the date that they're looking at. Let's say they say, I need a wedding quote for October, 50 people. And that's all they say. You could say, oh, October is a wonderful time for to get married here. The leaves are changing, and anything you can do to slightly personalize it if you have time. But if not, this is where all the AI powered generic solutions that are being marketed now can come in handy. Okay. Now, let me throw this out. Is it possible to have others outside of your silo assist with this function? Okay. It's almost like when you get the weak leads, it's like sifting through a sifter of sand for a kid at the beach when you scoop up a sand and then you sift through, and what's left are some little pretty little shells in there. And if you have someone maybe that has time to do that, it could be a mid-shift front desk person that's interested in sales. It could be the overnight night auditor, okay? Maybe give them a little bit of incentive or some kind of recognition program. Now, you may not want to be sending responses at 2 o'clock in the morning, but they can do the Outlook delay sending time. Pretty sure Gmail has that too. So it doesn't look like you're responding at 2 in the morning. That may seem a little bit weird, but you can have other people respond and do their best to personalize their responses. All right. But respond to the hottest leads with a phone call if possible. Okay. Now, this will humanize the exchange and will allow you to stand out from the comp set. Why? Because almost nobody calls these days. And when I teach on-site training, either for hotel sales, catering sales, event sales, usually it's for the whole group, the whole sales team, and the catering and event salespeople will come in there. But a lot of people say, oh, hold up, Doug, people don't want to talk anymore. And there's this whole myth that, well, first of all, if they wanted to talk, they would have called us. Then there's the second myth, oh, well, young people, they had no personality, that Gen Z millennial thing. If you've been in my other webcast, we just blow that right out of the water and trace it back to the book Generations, written in 1991, which tends to aggregate people according to birth year, which I think is no more possible than aggregating people according to their horoscope sign. Okay, we are all different. So don't believe those myths. Other people will say, oh, Doug, once I called someone and they were mean to me. Yeah, well, that's going to happen occasionally too, but it's also in what you say. I'm going to cover a little bit on that right now. Chances are you're probably just getting voicemail anyway, okay? At least you are conveying a personal commitment by leaving them a personalized voicemail. That right away starts to humanize this exchange, all right, and move the discussion away from price, because remember, they're emotionally involved in this. Now, depending on what you say, okay, is going to also depend on if you annoy them. If you say, oh, hi, let's say you call, oh, hi, is this Kathy Cook? Hi, hello? Is this a good time? They're going to think you're one of those telemarketers. Now, it seems like running in droves. About 2 or 3 days ago, I don't know what list I got on, but I've been getting 4 or 5 people now calling me to investments. So that's how they start out. Oh, hi, how are you? Is this a good time? I don't want to tell you what I say. I'm actually fairly nice because I do telemarketing in our company too. We do it. But I want to say, dude, let me give you some hints. First of all, do not ask who they are. Just assume that's who they are if they put their number down. If not, they will tell you, oh, yes, I actually picked up my husband's phone. This is Bob. Let me get Tom. So most of the time, you're getting the person. So here's what you're going to say. Hi, Kathy Cook. This is Doug Kennedy from the Brand X Hotel. We got your inquiry for the upcoming wedding of your daughter. Do you have a few moments? I had a couple of questions that'll help me personalize the response. Okay. And now people are going to be like, oh, this person actually cares. So let them know who you are, why you're calling right away. Don't go for that small talk. Don't go for the, is this a good time in the day? Don't ask that at the beginning anyway. Let them know why you're calling. All right. Now, electronic inquiries. Sometimes more time is needed. Now, if you're part of a brand, the clock may be ticking because they're monitoring your Delphi FTC and you want to make sure that you're responding. There's also the urban legend that CVent will gig you and stop sending you leads if you don't respond in a certain amount of time. Completely untrue, by the way, but responding promptly is somewhat overrated. I wouldn't want to be the last respondent, but if you've been with me for the other sales training webcasts, you know that I've shown evidence that that's not the case. In fact, it's usually the third respondent, second, third, fourth respondent that is going to get the deal because they take more time to be more specific. Now, that's for all hotel sales. But again, if you need more time or you need to go and check and see you had a block on the space and it's past due, and which hopefully would not happen, because if the person did not sign or commit, you would blow that block out of there, but maybe the block is still on the space and before you can confirm the dates, whatever it is, or you're away because you're out of the office for a couple hours or you're going to be out for a full day, let them know right away. Got your email, got your inquiry form. We'd love to connect. Give me a little bit more time. All right. Now, respond even when you're sold out. One of the things I find, I do sales process assessments. I love doing this. It's very helpful for my sales trainees. It really helps me understand what's going on in the industry. What I do is, and you can do this too, directors of sales, or if you're sitting there with another salesperson, you could do this for each other. I call it the Doug Kennedy Challenge. Go back 90 days or 60 days, whatever your average lead time is, and pull 10 leads and then look at what actually happened. What I find is a lot of times salespeople do not follow up at all, not even respond when the dates are sold out, because the sender or the inquirer, if it's a voice or a walk-in, but again, the sender in an in-app platform will say their dates are not flexible, all right? And they will say it must be at this date, we have to have the wedding on this weekend, or we have to do it the anniversary party on this Saturday, the same Saturday everybody else wants, like the last Saturday before the weekend, before Christmas, if that makes sense. But what happens is that sender, when they get back the messages from when nobody responds, or they get back the messages and your comp set is all sold out, all of a sudden they may suddenly become more flexible. Now, another trick, research before you respond. This is especially true from companies, institutions, associations, schools, where you have not just an individual at a Gmail address, but somebody coming from a .org or a .com address. Let's search up those institutions. Let's find out something specific, something unique, maybe about that high school. If they're going to honor their retiring teacher, find out something about a principal, find out something about that. If it's going to be, now, I do not advocate, by the way, this for, let me stay on this for a minute. I do not advocate taking too deep of a dive into people's personal social media accounts until you've made the connection. All right. So I do not think you should do a bunch of research and say, oh, this is Doug from the wedding venue. I'm calling in response to your wedding inquiry, and I see you just went out to dinner last week at a great restaurant. That to me is social media stalking, feels creepy. But for companies and institutions, absolutely. And then reference what you learned in your voicemails, your phone conversations, and your email correspondence. That lets them know that you care, you want the deal, you want to help them in a personal way. All right, moving on. Personalize your written responses. When I say written, I'm not talking about handwriting, although we will talk about personal handwritten thank you notes, but I'm talking about anything in an email, anything in a PDF, anything in an online e-proposal, or an in-platform message response. The first paragraph is the most important. And really, if you change that and only that, you will outsell almost all of your comp set, okay? So paraphrase and restate whatever that sender shared in their original inquiry message, or ideally, the phone conversation that you actually had with them, okay? And so whatever you've learned, state it back. What most people will do, and I've seen this happen a lot, people have a long conversation with someone, and some people do this part very, very well, which is important. We're going to talk about it, but you have a whole conversation with the bride to be. In fact, the bride and the bride to be, perhaps, and you have a lovely conversation and you find out all of these details, and then they send back a generic proposal. All right. Bernadette Smith from the Gay and Lesbian Meeting Alliance actually did a webcam training and co-wrote an article with me about that exact thing, that people with same-sex weddings have a long conversation that they get back and congratulations to you and your groom letter. Okay, that sounds very tragic and sad, but you can follow her for more details on that. But take time to paraphrase and restate what you learned. Lovely to hear from you and your groom, bride and groom, and what a lovely proposal story you shared with me. Or, it's wonderful that you're both complete. This is one I actually read. You're both completing medical school. What a wonderful time to make a lifetime commitment. So anything that you've learned, state that back, and that will demonstrate you're attentive and focused to their special needs. Not only will it give them that awe feeling, but it's going to be like, yeah, this person actually pays attention and the conversations mean something. And I want to have more conversations with them. Now, delete content and images that are not relevant. So again, same-sex wedding, take out the pictures of the bride and groom, show pictures of just the bride or just the groom, or if you're smart, and your hotel photography package should have pictures of bride and groom, by the way. Similarly, for, if they're only doing a small catered lunch, don't send the dinner menus. If they're doing an awards banquet dinner, don't send the information on the spa. So customize what you send back. Now, other ways we can out-people the competition, we can stand out in that sea of sameness. How are we going to do that? Client connections, close contracts, the 4 C's of selling. I think I just invented that. Oh, 5 C's. Client connections, close contracts. So use Calendly. We love Calendly. Now there's also, I found out, I believe it's Hilton. Don't quote me on this, but I'm pretty sure Hilton will not allow you to connect to Calendly. However, on the business enterprise level Outlook, there's a similar function. Some of my Hilton contacts told me that. But authentic connections cannot be forged solely from email exchange and textual message exchanges. So why do people not talk anymore? Is it because, oh, Gen Z hates to talk and has no personalities? I'm sorry, Gen Z, that you get accused of that all the time. I don't find that with Gen Z people in my life, like my own children. But one of the reasons people of all age groups don't talk anymore, it's too hard to get someone on the phone, and then you play back and forth, or it's too hard to set a time. Imagine how many emails you send to actually get someone to connect. So again, we've covered this, those of you that are with me all the time, but let me talk about it. Okay, Doug, I'd like to talk to you. All right, Sarah, what's a good day? How about Wednesday? Oh, Wednesday's not good. How about Thursday at 4 o'clock? Can't do 4, how about 11? And we go back and forth, and it's so annoying and frustrating. With Calendly, it actually links into your Outlook, or if you're a Gmail-based company, you just update your schedule, and then you set your availability so you can control what times of day you're going to be available, and it will sync with your Outlook or Gmail calendar. So if you've blocked time for your weekly exec meeting, or you have, when you're going to be leaving early to pick up your kid from school, or you're going to be, in a meeting or off property. So Calendly is a wonderful way to close, to make client connections that close contracts. Now, FaceTime fosters faith in your follow through. Put the people parts back in sales, especially for catering sales, event sales, wedding sales. I love to connect on Zoom, Teams, uh, Google Meets, all the different systems out there I've been using since WebEx in the year 2000, okay? But, and a lot of people, a lot of you, I know the 20 somethings, you may have grown up talking to your friends on Skype before you got your first iPhone in 2007 and you went to FaceTime. But the more we can get people to meet with us, the more it's going to foster faith in your follow through. So meet online whenever possible. If you use Calendly, Calendly will integrate with your whichever of the apps that I mentioned, and it will automatically confirm a time and send them a link. Now, I know in B2B, most of the time people will take you up on these meetings, even B2C, as in customer, as in wedding planner, grooms, brides, father that's help. Let's just take out some gender stereotyping here. The groom's father that's helping to plan the wedding could very well be. More likely the bride's mom, but you know, they will be able to do FaceTime meetings. In fact, they will also, if you use Zoom or some of these, they can actually all be there for the meeting. FaceTime whenever you can. That does not necessarily mean the FaceTime app, by the way. So video email apps, and again, I feel like a broken record for those of you. Thank you for joining me again and again every month. But I am a huge fan of video email apps. BombBomb, Vidyard, two that I love. We use them both. Vidyard is free permanently. You can have up to 10 videos at a time. So start with that one. We like BombBomb here. Take out your smartphone, download the app, and you can send a video. Dear Chris, it was wonderful meeting with you about your upcoming event. I just wanted to follow up and see if you had a chance to consult with the other decision makers. We'd love to host you. Click send. The video actually is embedded in the email and they will see you the first few seconds of an automated video. Try this, you will see, you will close more sales. You'll get more responses. Creating client conversations, connections in conversations. Oh, I can't even read my own little wordsmith there. Creating client connections in conversations. So how do we make her smile when we're talking on an actual phone call or in a Zoom, FaceTime, whatever it is, meeting? Authentically crafted investigative questions specific to their needs. This is what we want to do. Now, I'm going to give a shout out to Jennifer Dowdy and her team at Invigorate for helping me once again come up with some examples. Terry as well. Thank you for helping me come up with examples that I'm going to share with you now from real world practitioners. Invigorate Hospitality is the outsourced hotel sales organization that we recommend if you're looking for additional support outside of your in the bricks and mortar sales team. So avoid generics. These are where you're going to annoy people. Walk me through your dream wedding. What are you looking to get out of this event? What do you want to get out of your retirement party? These feel very generic. These are like textbook questions. Let's look at authentic questions. Be original. What can you tell me about your guests? I thought that was an excellent one. What's the most important to you? Oops, typo. What's most important to you for your wedding reception or for this event? Are you looking for glitter and diamonds or more of a country barn theme? I thought that was an excellent one, especially if you're a resort destination that can offer both options. So, you know, personalize your thought process. That's all about, oh, next month's topic, which I'm already working on, epic hospitality. And that's about being empathetic, being intuitive, being present, and having connections. Can you share your Pinterest or vision board with me? Okay, that was a new one to me. I don't have a Pinterest account and I kind of knew what a vision board was, but apparently for brides to be, that's a big one these days. What are some weddings or events, if you're planning an event, or a wedding if you're planning a wedding, that you have attended in the past? What did you love about them, or what did you not love about them? What is the coolest thing you've ever seen done at a wedding or a retirement party or a quinceañera or a bar mitzvah, bat mitzvah? Okay. When you're in these age groups, I remember when our kids went through the bar and bat mitzvahs, we went through a lot. We attended a lot of bar and bat mitzvahs at that time. So, or also when, you know, my nieces started in the age of getting married, all of a sudden there's a lot of weddings. So people have a lot of experiences to share. This is one we're going to talk about in a moment. FOMO. Okay, maybe a new acronym for you. How can I help how can I best help you to relieve the potential stress of planning this? This is especially important for people planning the retirement party, the event, the holiday party. Okay. What are the most exciting things about your big day or your big event? Okay. So creating client connections in conversations, loop it back listening. So ask the right questions. Another thing we love to talk about, if you're with me for Reservation Sales Quest, we talked about this. I also address this in hospitality. We'll be looking at this in Epic next month, Epic Hospitality. Loop it back. I actually got this from a New York Times article. I love the concept. Before moving on to the next question or statement, when you're having a conversation, let's slow it down. Let's be present. Let's have those connections. Let's pause and let's loop back what was shared with a comment or a short question. You know, we get to having routine conversations. We get to flying around. Our phones are ringing or apps are pinging or things are lighting up all over our screen. Turn off those app notifications, by the way. I have to do this about every 3 days. It seems every time I download a new app or I open an app, it goes back on to, you know, into the app notification mode and my phone is beeping all day long. Turn off the noise, be present, all right? So here's some examples. Yes, well, actually, I'm helping my daughter find a venue for her wedding. You could say, oh, very good. When is it? How many people? Where, you know, have you set a date? Or you just pause and say, oh, how nice of you. And that pause gives time for the real story to come out. Well, actually, she's deployed right now, and our fiance has his hands full with the new baby. Now you know the real story, and you have made a connection with this person instead of moving right on into inventory search mode. Here's another one. Hi, I'm just trying to find a location for this year's annual awards banquet. Okay, when is it? How many people? What's the event? You can eat a dinner, you can have an open bar, you can have entertainment, or just pause. Oh, okay. I'm sure that's no small task. Well, actually, the person who usually plans this is out on mat leave. It's going to be my first time. Oh, they're probably having FOMO, and now we can help them. All right. Be present, ladies and gentlemen. This is a good one in life in general. It's a habit I would like to be mastering more. At least I'm trying. I'm on the road to getting better at it. Slow ourselves down. Creating client connections and conversations. Other ways now, we ask questions, we make a connection. Now we can use storified selling. Again, a big theme of all Doug Kennedy sales trainings. Let's talk about how this applies to catering and event sales and all the different ones pictured here, dinners, different parties. Share stories of previous events you've assisted with. Not only is that going to tell the story of wonderful events playing out at your venue, but it's going to help you build credibility. They're going to think, oh, Chris knows what he's talking about. Use the storified selling method of just for you to help the just for you approach to help them imagine themselves enjoying the venue and the experiences and the foods and beverages and the entertainment that you're describing. Okay. And so this is something, again, we cover in a lot of our trainings. Be a you seller, not a we seller. All you have to do is replace we offer with you. You can enjoy, you can take advantage of, you will receive. And if we do this, then they're going to start to follow through. They're going to stop multitasking. We score a lot of real conversations in this company. We log in to cloud-based recordings, we download calls, we listen to audio exchanges. What I hear and what my team hears, a lot of very distracted people who are planning their wedding while they're going through, they're calling about the wedding or the bar mitzvah or the quinceañera as they're going through the drive-through at Chick-fil-A. Now, I know the drive-through at Chick-fil-A can take a very long time, so maybe that makes sense. But people are multitasking. There's a lot of background noise going on. The you selling brings them in. Another one, recommend, suggest, endorse. Imagine how hard and stressful this is to be the planner of this special event. Remember, they are experiencing choice overload. Choice overload is where, try it sometime, take a lead that you get and imagine you're the one planning that event and do a Google search. Quinceañera location for Austin, Texas, okay, and see how many venues come up. Or wedding venue for Tucson, Arizona. Shout out to the Sheridan here. See how many venues come up. Start clicking around. See how overwhelming it can be for these people. And what is FOMO? It's actually a real thing. It's called fear of messing up. And a lot of people have this fear, especially when you're the one tasked with planning this. Now, I hate to think people get this sense when they're planning their own wedding, because of course everybody dreams of it being perfect, which it rarely is. But certainly if you're the bride's mom or father or the groom's father or mother, or you're the person that's now in charge for the first time of planning your company or association, banquet or event, or, again, your kid's special coming of age party. A lot of people have fear of missing out. There's actually a word for it, and atelophobia, okay? I think I pronounced that right. But this is a real thing. And so again, you think back to everything we talked about. Respond promptly. Let them know if you need more time. Call to make that connection. Try to meet face to face. It's really all about overcoming their FOMO. Maybe I should have covered this at the start of today's webcast here, but I do think this is a real thing that your people are feeling on the other side of the planning conversation. So when you recommend, suggest, and endorse with statements like these, you sound confident, okay? Since you mentioned whatever the circumstance is, I would definitely recommend this option. If you're looking for whatever it is you're looking for, I can definitely suggest. And then finally, when they start to narrow down their choice, excellent choice. Based on what you told me, I think this would be an excellent choice. And now they go, oh. If you've ever closed a sale verbally, over the phone or in person, you actually get this reaction. They say, you know what? Let's do it. Oh. Sometimes they even say, I'm glad to get this over with. And so it is a sense of relief, especially for those suffering from FOMO. All right, following up tenaciously and in a personalized way. That's again, you're showing your commitment, you're showing you're organized. If they have, everything that you do from that first inquiry, it's like showing evidence of your follow-up, showing evidence that you care, showing evidence that you're the one they can put their trust in to help them plan and execute this huge catering event or occasion. So follow up tenaciously. Embrace your CRM. Is that how you feel about your CRM? I wish I could see your faces right now because I don't think anybody loves their CRM. All right. I've been on Zoho for 20 years. It's actually an alternative to Salesforce that is becoming more and more popular. Do I love it? It works for me. I do embrace it. But whether you're on Delphi FTC, salesandcatering.com, Event Temple, there's so many others out there that I haven't yet to find someone who truly, truly loves their system. But we got to give up the paper trail, or most of you do not live in a fully paper trail, but you live in a hybrid system. You use your CRM, your Delphi, let's say, to block the meeting and event space and maybe the guest rooms that are associated with the wedding block. And then the rest of your to-do list is either on a spiral notebook or Post-it notes or Outlook flagged emails or Outlook calendars. And you live in this world that's somewhere between digital and paper and all these different systems and apps and phone reminders, and you're very stressed. And that's where you wake up in the middle of the night, 2 a.m. go, did I send that email? Love your system, even if you don't. Ignore those nifty extras, the HubSpots, the Salesforce. They have so many different features, but get your CRM to do the most important sales essentials. I wrote an article about this a couple months back. Email me if you want a copy of that. But basically, you want it to do the simple things to document all significant correspondence for easy access. So every time you have a phone call, add the notes. If you send an email, now if it's just send a follow-up email, just make a note that you sent a follow-up email. But if it's a significant email with details, either copy and paste it or ideally attach it. Now, most of you know Delphi F2C, you can send emails through the system. However, most of you also know it will not include your auto signature in some cases, and it may not attach. So you may have shortcomings, and I don't mean to call out Delphi. It's a great system. It's actually the most popular widespread use, but from what I've seen, the way it's configured, it does not do some of the things that we're used to in our Outlook or our Gmails. But so therefore, if it's not integrated and you're not sending it through, it won't attach. So either copy and paste or print the email as a PDF and attach it that way. Notes from phone calls, copy of emails, or short summaries. We already talked about that. Use the details throughout the follow-up process. Now, if you're busy and you're running a big venue, you can have your sales admin person go through the notes and you can assign this to them. You can do that in Delphi. That's one great thing about Delphi. Assign it to the sales admin who can look in your notes and say, oh, hello, Sarah, this is Chris following up. I know Doug Kennedy asked me to give you a call or send you an email about your daughter's wedding while she's on deployment and her fiance is home with the baby. We're here to help you. Okay, so mention them in calls, mention in emails, anything you learn, something you learned that you can restate and you can make it feel personalized. Please don't be generic. Hello, this is Eeyore. I'm just following up to see if you made a decision. Hello, this is Eeyore. I just wanted to call to see, I haven't got your contract yet. We're going to release the space. Follow up with something specific if you want to get more deals. Then trace that next step. CRM essential number one. I did this morning. I do it every day when I'm in the office. I look at my task list. Trace the next step on your task list. Confirm receipt. If you've ever sent an email and the person didn't get it and they went with someone else because they never got your quote or they never got your bid, you know how much this hurts. It's happened to me. Always, always, always do not rely, by the way, on Outlook's return a confirmation. I forget what it's called now. Confirm receipt, where it's going to say all that's going to say is they opened it. They might have opened it on their phone and accidentally deleted it. How many times has that happened to you? You read, you're going through your mail and you delete something, you look away for a second and a new one pops in, you delete something. You didn't even know it. So then follow up. These are typical 2 to 3 business days, either with a phone call. I'm sorry, the initial follow up, 3 days after the conversation, could be an email, a phone call, or a video email. It's a great time to vary the medium, which is something we love to talk about, and then the second follow up as well. So make sure they got it, initial follow up, and then another follow up before their anticipated decision date. Okay, and then how do we do this, Doug? We have all these email leads coming in. If you're living in a reactive mode, it's the proverbial saying that's relatively new, drinking from the fire hose. We must take control of our sales time. Block time each day for proactive follow-up. Dip out of the drama at a designated time and focus on closing those deals. You got to dip out of the drama. You literally have to block that 1 hour or 30 minutes sometime every day for your follow-ups. Okay, because if not, you're going to be reacting. You're never going to feel caught up. You're going to go home stressed. You're going to wake up at 2 o'clock in the morning going, I forgot to do something. A few more slides before we wrap up here. Personalize, proactive follow-up. In today's world of high tech and automation, and again, some of the new sales CRMs and these articles I see, in all the publications that I write for every month. Oh, AI is the key to personalized service. Yeah, we shot that one all up last month's webcast. AI can do a lot of things, but it cannot make you get that warm, fuzzy feeling that you get from a human connection. So try sending a camera phone pic. If you don't want to give Doug Kennedy's video email suggestions to try, just send a camera phone pic. Hi, maybe something with your name on it, or you in front of the venue where it's going to be, or a picture of the venue. If you don't want to be in that picture, just send a camera phone pic. I'm imagining your wedding happening right here, Chris. Video emails and personal handwritten notes. You know, I was just at Dollar Tree the other day buying some planter pots for my house. It's actually a great way to buy them. Planting a lot of new seeds this spring, and right next to the planter seeds was thank you notes at the Dollar Tree. They will work just fine. $1.25. The Dollar Tree is no longer a dollar. Okay, I think you can get about 12 of them now. Stamp will set you back 50 cents. Hopefully your boss will pay for the stamps. I don't know what it is in Canada or DR or Europe, all the other folks today, but it really does have an impact when you send a personal handwritten note. Tell your boss that Doug Kennedy thinks it's worth the price, because nobody does this anymore, and it means so much. So avoid that generic messaging. I'm just following up to see if you're ready to book it. Checking back to see if you made a decision. No, this is my Doug Kennedy go-to follow-up, reaching out to see what we can do on our end to win the chance to host your meeting, your wedding, your event, to host your retirement party, your quinceañera, your bar bat mitzvah. Okay. And on that note, I'm just reaching out to see what we can do to keep you coming back and spread the word to others in your hotel, vacation rental, management company, wherever you are today. We have epic hospitality coming up next month. Already working on this one. It's going to be epic. And then in June, we're going to cover conquering complaints confidently. In July, we're going to go back to 10 ways to book more direct reservations. So stay tuned. Join us on YouTube if you are new to our series. We have now 2.5 years of webcasts, which are available on YouTube. You can listen to them as podcasts. You can also find Kate's monthly video training tip. We have about 1.5 years of these now. These are only about 5 minutes. They're really fun to share through your internal company social media or at your meetups. You can also find us on Spotify or wherever you get in all the other podcast channels. If you are interested, let me know what I can do to have a chance to present on-site training or private live webcam training. I'll be doing one for Coast Hotels in about 1 hour. Coast Hotels in the Pacific Northwest. Conference presentation, mystery shopping call scoring. If you have recorded conversations, we love to score those. Also email exchanges, and we do private live webcam training. Thank you, everyone. I hope you enjoyed your lunch. If you're on a lunch and learn, we appreciate you joining us live. A good portion of our audience, looks like about 30% of you today were live. And if you're joining us remotely, keep coming back. Happy Friday. Have a great day around the world. Come and see us next month.